Hello, welcome to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education and Research Center at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and our local partner, Sprocket Innovation in Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. A few weeks ago, we started talking about 5 basic cybersecurity things that you can do to make your business, your home, even a little bit safer than what it is right now. We walked through the first 2 items, which was creating a security policy and improving your passwords. The last 2 weeks, and this week we want to talk about user education. So let's dive into that. Improving user education is the third item of the 5 that we want to talk about right now. And obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. There's a lot of things that you can do and probably should do for your organization, but I wanted to provide a place for you to get started. How do you get started? And I hope that these 5 items can help you get started. So let's talk about the user threats, the threat from our users. Um, and I put a lot of graphics on here, and I'm not going to go through all of these graphics, but the point of all of this, all of these graphics is our users don't necessarily understand the threat they pose. Um, 48% of users think they can still get baited. 1 in 3 users don't understand the importance of passwords or even think they need to use passwords. 1 in 4 think that sharing corporate files across a personal cloud is okay. Uh, I can go on and on and on, but the point of this, actually, let me share another statistic that might be even more um, um, highlight that threat even more, and that's the fact that of um, successful cyber attacks, 95% are caused by human error. That's according to IBM Cybersecurity Intelligence Index. 95% of all successful cyber attacks are caused by human error. Now, what does that mean? That means perhaps we have poor passwords. Perhaps we click a link that we shouldn't. Perhaps um, somebody calls us and convinces us to give information that we shouldn't. There's a lot of things that could go into human error. Maybe it's that we thought we did something that we didn't, or we deleted a file that we shouldn't, and that caused an attack to happen. Whatever the reason it is, 95% of attacks trace back to human error. And the quote at the bottom, people are the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain. It's true. Now, you've heard me say it on 10 at 10 before. I also firmly believe that humans, that people can also be our greatest advocate and asset in that same chain. We've just got to help our users understand what they need to be doing so that it's not, sometimes it's because people are lazy. I get that. I understand that. I agree with that. But a lot of times we have poor security, not because we're lazy, but because we don't know any better. So I think our challenge is to make, first of all, to educate people on those proper practices, but second, to help it be front of mind. I don't think it's that I'm being malicious in the way that I handle my sensitive data. I think it's just I don't think about it. It's not in the front of my mind. As a cybersecurity professional, we're always thinking about how could this be hacked? What's the threat? What's the risk? What are what could happen if we do this? Your average user's not thinking that way. So, user education, user awareness training is a really important piece to help us and to help our people realizing that they are part of our cybersecurity defense. That's the idea here. That's why user education is number 3 in this top 5 list. This is why it is so important. I also saw a statistic earlier in the week, and I don't have a graphic of it right now, but it showed Um, there are a couple of different avenues that ransomware was getting into our system. Um, Email being a strong one, and it still is, but growing larger percentage is remote workers. It is our users that are not in the office but are working remotely. The security situation at the remote office or at their home is different than what it is when you're in the office. So that user threat is not just when they're in the physical building, but it's wherever they are accessing the network from. So we've got to be very deliberate in the way that we think about user training. It's not just in our building, it's not just on our local network, it is anywhere they're accessing our corporate information. And that's what you need to keep in mind when we're doing this, when we're doing a user training. Uh, just a couple of tips that if you're doing user training on a regular basis, which I recommend it to be maybe a quarterly thing, maybe monthly, depending on your situation, maybe yearly, again, depending on your situation. A year may be too infrequent, where every month may be too frequent. Maybe quarterly is some balance in the middle. But whatever avenue you use that, and there's some great tools that can help you do some of this. But number one, don't click. That is still probably our biggest problem that we have is users clicking. If you send me a link, just assume it's invalid. Assume that it's not real. Assume that it's fake. Don't click. Don't trust. You can't trust. We can all fall for it. We all click on a link in an email, whether we should or not. We've all done it, including me. But we just really need to be careful not to click. Uh, I like to say to be skeptical. Whatever you receive in an email, be skeptical. Don't trust it. And so just by default, don't click. Second, be careful what you share. Um, we are in a society of oversharing. We share probably, no, it's not even probably, we definitely share too much information on social media. That Be careful on what you're sharing and don't overshare. Those things can really cause us to have problems. So be careful what you share. Be careful what you send. Just don't overshare. I put two of those things there because I really want to reiterate the point of don't overshare. And let me just give an example of that. So many people create their password based on something they know. So maybe it's their dog's name, maybe it's their wife's name, maybe it's their kid's name, maybe it's their kids' birthdays. Whatever it is, the more you share, the more likely it is that I can guess what that phrase is and what your password is. So be careful with that. Also, treat business information like you would your personal information. And what I mean by that is that I don't want my personal information out there. I'm not going to share my social security number. So why should I share confidential business information, customer information? If you're not going to share your personal information, then also don't share that information that you would deem confidential or proprietary and private, and that you actually may even be regulated to protect. So use the same mentality with business information that you would personal information, because a lot of times it is someone's personal information. It just may not be yours. And then this is a training idea that was presented at Security Matters by Sarah Sarah Kennedy, one of our alumni several years ago at Security Matters, and at her organization they play a game of tag, and they have these red index cards that basically say tag. And at the bottom it says you've been tagged. Your computer was left unlocked or sensitive data was left on your desk while you weren't close by. And it's a game that they have made out of helping us remember to keep things that sensitive information protected in a way that we need to. So what this means is that if you get up from your desk to go to the bathroom and you're going to be gone for a couple of minutes, then you should lock your computer. If you're going to lunch, don't leave customer information on the desktop um, or laying out. It should be in a secure file or a secure folder or a drawer. Um, those types of things. So what they have done is that if you get tagged, you're not in trouble, but your job is to now go find somebody else that is not um, doing what they should. So it's kind of a peer pressure thing that you're on the lookout for somebody else in the organization to do it. And then, you know, I'll stop there by saying there's so many things that we need to do from a security awareness standpoint when we're doing user training. User training is an important piece, one that we really need to think about and one that we really need to do. There's a lot of games that we can play. There is some good tools that we can use to do phishing campaigns for our employees to make sure that they're not going to click the link. There's a lot of different things that we can do. My point with this session today is that just do something. We need to do something. We need to take those steps, no matter if your organization's large or small, take those steps to make sure that you and your employees, your entire team understand the things that we do have consequences. And here are some steps that we can take to protect ourselves and our organization in cyberspace. That's it. That's the simple truth. We are our humans, our people are our greatest threat and our greatest asset, our greatest weakness rather, and our greatest asset at the same time. So anyway, I hope that was helpful today. If you have questions on how to implement security awareness training at your organization, let me know. I'll be happy to provide you some resources and would be very interested in talking with you more about it. Thank you for joining today on 10 at 10, and I'll see you next week right back here on 10 at 10. Thank you. Bye.